Hello friends and welcome back. It's Terry with Terry's Mailbox, and today I'm happy to be participating in a video hop for Altenew's September Marvelous Monthly Series release. So I decided to use the Dynamic Duo Wildflower Bouquet Layering Stencil and Stamp Set. I also do have the optional die. So again, here is that stamp set, and I love the way it adds kind of the details on some of the stenciled images. And here are the stencils, and you can see there's quite a few openings on it. And then this is the optional die. So again, it cuts out the sentiments. It also cuts out the Wildflower Bouquet. So I'm starting with my Altenew sticky mat here, and I've got an A2 card base attached there, and I'm using the fresh dye inks. These are part of their newer releases. So again, I'm gonna start by coloring in the stems. That's probably the best place to start, because then you can add the flowers and you know exactly where they line up. Altenew does a great job of adding etchings on their stencils so that you can see right where right where the stencils line up. So again, I'm starting with jade and my mini blending tool here. So we're just stenciling as always. And so there's 3 shades here. I've also got eucalyptus and forest fern that I'm going to go ahead and use. And then you can see there I have other colors selected for my flowers, the coral red, etc. So I've rotated the stencil as directed, and you can see there are etchings on there which you actually match up with the prior stenciled stems, and so that it just makes it so easy to line these stencils up appropriately. So again, we've moved on to the eucalyptus color here, and then I'm kind of working with my stencil. So we'll get out the forest fern will be next. So again, I'm kind of looking at my flowers, and then I've realized, oh no, I've got more stems to do. So I had to line up again the etchings, making sure that I've got them correct. Here I was anxious to move on to flowers. I'm not quite ready yet. So again, I've grabbed, I ended up using the forest fern because I wanted darker stems on this one. And so I love the way the colors all kind of coordinate there. So again, still just using my mini blending tools and coloring away. So there is a red arrow at the lower right hand section of your screen. I would love it if you would join my channel and be one of my subscribing friends. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm lining up one of the floral blooms there, making sure I've got it attached there to the mat. And you can see here I'm using some cardstock to block off sections of the stencil that I want to make sure that I don't actually overcolor where I'm supposed to be. So again, I'm just kind of starting off and adding all the colors. You can see here I moved to the part where I have all the flower blooms in there. And the next thing we're going to do is just add some of the details. And I forgot the little part of the green stem there, so I had to go back so that lilac or lavender, I guess it is attached. All right, so I got that part done. So the next thing I'm doing is moving on and doing the flower centers. And so you can see I'm done with the stenciling, but the cool thing is what Altenew has provided here is some stamps that add a lot of detail. And so again, I'm using the darker purple color and adding those details there. And then we'll go ahead and pull out a couple of other colors and add the flower centers. So just kind of adding that, just kind of adds on to that red flower, or that coral red flower. And then we'll go ahead and move over. There are a couple of tiny, little tiny, they look like C's, but they're not. And that is for the details on the daisies. So again, just kind of stamping that. stamping away. And so there is my flower bouquet after I've die cut it, and I did add an extra layer of cardstock onto the back for strength. And I'm using that pegboard background. I thought that might be really interesting. So I pulled out my pool ink, and what I'm going to do is just kind of color, fading in and out there on the background. And I'm not too worried if one part is a little bit darker than the other, because again, that wildflower die cut is going to sit right on top. And so again, I'm kind of showing you here what to do with the die cut. And then for my next one, I'm actually going to create a whole series of blooms and using the same stencil set. So you'll see how I put that one together. But again, I'm still just inking up here in the pool background. And I can check with the die cut and make sure that I have the colors where I want it. A little bit more on the bottom there, it looks like. Very fun, very fun. So again, I'm happy with that. So then I attached that pegboard to an A2 card base, and now I'm just gluing the back of the die cut blossoms using my white glue. So once I get it all coated here, I'll just flip it over and center it where I want it, and then I'll probably put an acrylic block on it to dry. That just always helps it. And so here's where I got creative and decided that I was going to cover a base from left to right with blooms. So again, I'm just starting out with the stems. You got to start with the stems, and I'm using the exact same colors, so you'll see the difference. One of the differences is I'm actually working on a natural cream cougar background instead of white. So you'll see how it looks a little bit different when you use a different color background. So again, I'm just kind of moving the stencil around here, trying to figure out, how can I cover and get a complete line of the flowers. So again, changing colors. So just kind of moving that around. And I ended up adding 3 of the larger flowers, just simply because I wanted, again, the rule of 3. And after I got the 2 red blooms done, I realized that I needed something higher. And so that's when I went back to do that. So for right now, I'm still just adding, moving the stencils around, trying to figure out what makes the most sense so that I can have the blooms kind of layered and, and cover that background. So again, here's where I'm adding that third red bloom here up towards the top. And so again, just using my mini ink blenders. So there, I've got my flower on there. Well, now I got to figure out how to get a stem back in there. So again, I went back to my greens, and we'll go ahead and color in the stem. So you can see here, I'm only using parts of the stencil to, to make it look like that bloom is complete with the stem and everything. And so just kind of filling in the little parts. There's my cardstock blockers there. Just making sure. So again, I've got, a nice complete set of blooms there. We're going to finish up those yellow guys, the yellow daisies, and then of course we'll add all the details on there. So this was just kind of a fun way, a different way to use that stencil set, I thought. Okay, so let's see, we'll put everything away here. We're gonna go ahead and hit our flower centers. And obviously I'm just centering the one opening where it needs to be, and I'm not worrying about coloring all of them. I'm just putting the opening where it needs to be. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm pulling out those detailed stamps. I love it when Altenew does that. There's a couple other sets that it's this way too, that gives you the detail stamps. And I think that's a really cool idea. So again, just kind of pulling out my purple detail there for my lavender. Just too much fun. Too much fun putting this together. So then I had to go back to my little C's there, which are the centers of the daisies. And so there is that complete card. So obviously I'm going to trim it down to be A2 size, which I've done there, kind of figured out where I wanted to center things. So I kind of like that it's off to the left-hand side. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the sentiment on there with black obsidian pigment ink from Altenew, which is one of my favorites. It's just nice and crisp and has great color. And then we're going to go ahead and add just some clear embossing powder onto that. And then we'll go ahead and heat that. And then I pulled out a piece of kind of coral cardstock. So I want that to be my base panel. And then I've obviously, the floral one is trimmed to be, that's going to be it's going to be 3¼ by 5 inches. So again, just kind of making sure that I can have a border on there. Love the way it matches. So again, that is that card. And so here is my my die cut card as well. So again, it's Terry with Terry's Mailbox, and I am on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Blogger. Would love to have you come and follow. There's both of my cards right there. Again, I hope you've enjoyed seeing 2 different ways.